Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my online class. I am Nazmur Shahid, lecturer in physics under the Department of Physics in Boshal Cat College. Due to corona pandemic, we stay at home and we take our class in online. And I believe that you are safe and sound in your home. Inshallah, we will meet soon. Firstly, I say something about coronavirus, and we are really afraid for the second session of corona pandemic. Due to protect this corona pandemic, we think that you must stay at home and maintain the proper precautions that we need to protect this corona pandemic situations. And for protect yourself, you must be wash your hand frequently. Don't touch your nose and face without washing your hand. That's why you must be spend 20 seconds when you washing your hands and must be avoid close contact to flu-like syndrome persons. And today we discuss chapter number 10, that is phenomena of electricity and magnet. And by the end of today's class, you must be able to know about number one, to explain the property of charge. Number two, to demonstrate the properties of charge through creating static electricity. Number three, to explain conductor, non-conductor, and semiconductor. And number four, to prepare a simple circuit. And last number, that is five, to explain the use of electricity in daily used machines. So no more delay, we are going to discuss first the properties of charges. First, you must be see the animations. This is nothing but the explanation of charges, and it must be the negative charges, that is electrons. And we discuss the simple atomic structure, and we know that at the center of the atoms there are two particles stay, that is a proton and neutrons. And the center, that is called nucleus, and outside of the center there is some orbits, and in orbits there must be stray electrons. And we know that uh, there are a lot of orbitals must be present in the atoms, but all of the orbitals not be occupied or may be occupied by the electrons. And we know that at center, that means in nucleus, uh, the proton is a string, and the number of protons and number of electrons of an atom must be equal if it is neutralized atom. And we also know from the simple atomic structure descriptions, proton in nucleus must be uh, stop and it's not moving, but the electrons that stray in the orbital, it must be moving. And we also know that the proton has positive charges, and the electron is negative charges, but the neutral has no charges. So when in a atom equal numbers of proton and electron stray, that means equal numbers of positive and negative are straying, then this atom must be neutralized. And anyway, if any kinds of electrons comes into the orbitals, then the equalization is destroyed, and the number of electrons is increasing, so the charge of electron must be increasing. That's that's time the atom must be negatively charges. And when the electron is moving, and the center, that means in nucleus, the proton numbers is increasing. That's why the proton or the atom is positively charges. This is the simple atomic structures, and from the atomic structures we must be described about charges, because there are two kind of charges stay in any kind of atoms, that is positive charge, that means proton, and another charge, that is negative charge, that is electrons. So there are two kinds of charges, one is positive proton and another is electron. But proton, that means positive charge, cannot move, but the electron, that means negative charge, is moving. And more information about electrons, the velocity of the electrons near equal to the velocity of light. On the another hand, we can say that no particle like electron move with the velocity of light. So this is the simple description of charges. In lithium atom, you see that there are three protons, four neutrons, and three electrons. And at centers, they are staying, but outer of the orbitals, there are electrons is moving. And here I show you four structures, atomic structures. They are all showing for moving of the electrons in the orbitals, but photons are must be stay in the nucleus and it must be in static positions. So from these descriptions, we must be clear about proton and electrons, and the velocity of the proton and electrons. Lastly, I finish out about the velocity of electrons. That is, electron is moving with the velocity of light, but the velocity of proton is zero. So all of the pictures are describing here is the same thing, but it's a imaginations pictures in four sides. From these imaginations animation, you must be clear, take a clear concept about proton and electron, and this is the basic charges of a atom. And this is a on kind of property of a atom. So the charge is nothing but the property of a atom, that is called charge. And charge has two types, one is electron and that is negative types, and another is positive type, that is proton. So if the definition is coming, what is charge? Is nothing but the properties of the atoms. Without electrons and protons, it quite impossible to construct atom. So this is the fundamental uh, charge bodies, that is proton and electron. So electron and protons are the charge bodies, and there is the nothing but the properties of a atom. On the other hand, if the definition is coming, what is electron? It is nothing but the charge properties which carries out electronic negative charge, that is called electrons. And if a positive charge is carried by atom, that is called proton, and this also be called positive charge particles of a atom. Now, I also show you the electronic configurations, that is atomic configuration of aluminium. We know that there are 13 numbers of atomic numbers. So in the center, in the nucleus, there is must be proton and neutron, and outer of the radius there must be stray electrons. So if we describe what is electricity, then we know that the electricity is moving. That means uh, electron is moving from one side to another side. So when we describe electricity, that means we describe the moving velocity of electrons. But if we discuss about static electricity, that means the electricity which cannot move from one place to another place, that means photonic charge electricity. So if we describe electricity, that means moving electricity, and when we describe static electricity, that means we are describe about static electricity. So that means photonic electricity. And if we describe normal electricity, that is called electronic electricity. And I show you a charge distribution chart. That is one is far, number two is funnel, there is selling box, glass, silk, cotton, wood, metals, there is metals, rubber, sulfur, and ebonite, and lastly gutta perse. We know that the charge distribution chart, why it is very important. When we friction two materials to each others, they can exchange charge from one materials to another materials. For firstly describing animation for the simple structure, when a atom is positively charged, when is atom is negative charged, as likewise. And this structure or this chart show you, if you take glass and silk and you rubbing each others, that means glass loses electron and give to the silk. That's why glass is positively charged and silk is negatively charged. In this way, if you take any kinds of wood and any kinds of materials and rubbing each others, then wood uh, ex- exchange, that means would releases electrons and give these electrons to metals, and that's why wood is positively charged and metal is going to negatively charged. So uh, the upper hand number is always time giving electrons to lower hand sides from the charge. Again, I take a examples. If we take glass and wood, then the glass is upper hand from woods. So glass give electrons to wood. That means glass is positively charged and wood is turns to negatively charged. That's why we can make any kinds of materials with positively charged and negatively charged to take uh, as per the instruction of charge distribution chart. So, what is the origin of electricity and what is that means charge? Because electricity is nothing but the moving of charge. That's why we can call that electricity is nothing but the moving of charge. And we also said that electricity, if we said it is electricity, that means moving of electrons. That is one kind of charge. So, electricity has been organized from the Greek word alkatron. Number B, Greek philosopher Thales said that electric charges or simple charge has had been generated in the objects. We describe it from before the charge distribution chart. And lastly, the object in which charges are produced is called charge object. So again, I say something about corona pandemic situation. You must be stay at home. Avoid touching your face, that is nose and ear or eyes. That's why you must be wash your hands and must be spend 20 seconds and must be avoid close contact with flu-like syndrome persons. Now we discuss about the properties of charges. If we made before the charge distribution chart, and we made these kinds of substance. One is positively charged bodies and another is negatively charged bodies. Here two bodies are negatively charges and here two bodies are positively charges. Then we if we bring out this positive charge and negative charge, they are contact each others, but when we take the same qualities of charges, then it repels each others. Again, when we take the close contact with the same types of charges, then it repels each others. From this slide, we can say that the opposite charges is attract each others, but the same kind of charges is repulse each other. So if the positive charge or negative charge is come to close each other, then it's attract each others. But if the negative charges of two bodies and the positive charges of the two bodies is come close to each other, then it's repulse to each other. So this is the basic properties of charges. The same charges is repulse each others, but the opposite charges is attract each others. And this is negative and positive is attacked. That's why it is kept early. And if we take negative to negative, it also be repel each others. Here if we take positive to positive, it also be repel each other. So charge is two type. One is negative type and another is positive types. And the properties of charges is opposite charges attract each other, but the same charges is repel each others. This is a one kind of experiment where we produce charges and attraction between the charges, because you see the charge distributions of the rod that stray in the hands of the man. There is a negative charge, and when the plate is coming close contact to, or paper comes close contact to the rod, then the positive charge is here, because of the leaving of the negative charges, we see that there are positive charges and they attack the negative charges. That's why the up the paper of that side is going to jump up to reach the close contact with the rod. So this is one kind of a experiment, and the similar kind of experiment that we regularly happened when we use the combo to arrange our hair. Then we know that our hair is attacked by the comb, and this experiment also be very much familiar in the winter session when we wearing any kind of woolen uh, shirt, and when we put up this shirt, we feel some kind of sound, that is pot and pot. So we see that by the rubbing from the body of and woolen objects, there are changes of exchanges of the electrons, but for these reasons they attack each others, because when rubbing the bodies, then one body must be goes to positive charge and another body goes to negative charge. That's why they are in opposite charges. That's why they are attack each others. That's why they are attack each others, and uh, they can move trains to move from one materials to another materials. And now I show you that's the definition of conductor, non-conductor, and a semiconductor. But these pictures, you see that there is a battery, and we know that any kinds of bulb have two ends, and one end is directly connected to positive charge, and another ends is connecting a wire. And here we take some substance, and now the last part of the end is connected to negative end of the battery. And if we take wood, then we see that the light is off, but copper, take copper, then it is light is one. If we take glass, that is again off. If we take steel, it is one. So we take the we show you, that means I show you here if we take steel and copper, then the light is off. But if we take wood and glass, then the light is off. That means some of the materials can carry out electrons uh, inside these materials, but some of the elements that cannot carry out electrons. If any kinds of materials carry out electrons, that is carried out electricity, that kinds of materials is called conductor. If any kinds of materials cannot carry out current electricity, that means electric, that is electron, that is called non-conductor. For this definition, we can say that the wood cannot carry out electrons, that is electricity. That's why wood is a non-conductor and glass is a non-conductor, but copper and steel carry out electricity inside its body. So copper and steel also a conductor. But the what is the definition of semiconductor? Because semiconductor must be stay between conductor and non-conductor. When a substance carry out electrons, that is sometimes shows the properties of conductor, sometimes shows the non-conductors, and his property must be stay in conductor and non-conductors. That's kinds of materials is called semiconductors, and the example of semiconductor is silicon. And more information about silicons, most of the materials that we used in the modern world, that means electronic device, are made of the semiconductor device, and that means must be made of silicon. So now I show you there is a simple circuit. Why it is called simple circuit? When a circuit have three things that I show you in the first pictures. If any kinds of circuit that contains one battery, one key, and one bulb, that kinds of circuit is called simple circuits. So simple circuit, that means every bulb have two ends. One end is connected to positive ends of a battery, another end is must be connected to the end of negative. That's called a simple circuit. Key is not very important in every times to show the or on of the electricity. Key is only for needed for uh, showing or switch on off. So that's why if a circuit have only have power sources and one have is power losses, that power bulb is the power losses sector and battery is the power sources. So these are connected in a wire. That's is called a simple circuit. So it's also a simple circuit because there are only one bulb and one is a battery, and they are connected electrons. That's why these are the simple circuits. Here also I show you there's pump means bat power sources, and in the power source they are coming to the electrons, and it's coming to through a wire, and when it goes to the resistance, that means bulbs, the bulb is one and give us lights. So there is a simple circuit. And in this circuit, this circuit also show you the flow of electrons, because the negative end of a source must be carried out a lot of electrons, and the electrons moves from negative end to positive ends, because in the positive ends there are lack of electrons. So hues of electrons can flow is the end and comes to the lack of electron part. And here the show the direction of the uh, current passing. And we know that what is current, it is nothing but the flow of electrons, but its direction is opposite flow of the electrons. And you must be memorize this. What is current? Current is nothing but the flow of electrons, but the opposite flow of electron is called current. So the uh, these pictures, first picture shows you the flow of electrons, the direction of flow of electrons, and the second pictures also show the flow of direction of the current of a simple circuits. Here I also show you the flow of electrons and flow of current also. So this is one kind of simple circuit because they are only one battery, one power sources, and there are bulbs. That's why it's a simple circuit. So switch is one. Switch is not very important to make a simple circuit, but we are not interested to all time on the circuit. That's why we can use switch. So you must be observe the animation of this slide. You must be clear about what is power sources and what is simple circuits also. This is the some instruments or home applications that we use in our home, and we know that these kinds of application cannot running without electricity. So this is the practical uses of electricity in our rooms, and we know that we don't more talk about electricity because we know that without electricity we cannot move single a day. So electricity is very important to continuous our life in everywhere and every second in our life. So some knowledge based questions from these figures. What are the rules of charges? And number B, what is called charge? Number C, that is 3, what is positive and negative charge? Number 4, what is conductor, non-conductor, and semiconductors also. And some compression based question, why is positive attack negative? How do you determine positive and negative charges? How do you determine positive charge? Who or how is static charge created? Some MCQ question, which one is a conductor? I know that I cannot describe it. Number 2, there are 4 options. You can choose the right options. Number B, which one is semiconductor? I discuss more about the semiconductors. From the 4 options, you must be knows which one is semiconductor and what is charge. There are 4 options. Number 1, lack is 3 options. Lack of neutron, lack of electron, excess of electrons. There are 4 options also. You can choose your the right options. Number 4, there is last one. What is the unit of electric charge? The unit of electric charge must be coulomb. I can say that because before in the class I cannot say the charge of the unit of the charge of the coulomb because scientist Coulomb first described the electric charge. That's why for the honor of this scientist we give the unit of charge is coulomb. This now is your homework. You must be practice in your homes. You must be see the pictures and the question is what is charge. Number B, what do you mean by the charge substance? Number C, describe the first figure of the stem. Number 4, explain the relation between two figures of the stems. There's two figures means cation and anion is the two figures, and and the upper hand there is a neutral atom. So two figures that means positive is cation and the negative ion is called anion. You must be explain some relations between the cation and anion. Question answer session. If you have any questions and query, then ask me after the finishing today's class. I will reply you in dashboard. Lastly, I say about corona pandemic situation. You must be stay at home. Don't go outside without taking masks and without taking preparations or precautions or taking protections about corona pandemic situation. And I think you must be stay at home safe and soundly. With this hope, I Nazmushed conclude today's lecture. Thank you. Thank you all.